Zizaran here with another video, and this is a video from my editor. Last PoE 2 season, you guys had a blast playing Scry's build, and it was a banger. He's just got this hidden talent of being a super good build creator. So I'm going to give you once again another Scry build. He has said the game has never been easier. So don't take it from me, take it from him, and enjoy.
Hi, Scry here, Resident Monk One Trick, bringing you an update to the Ice Strike Monk. In this third season of PoE 2, we've seen a bunch of changes to melee combat, skills in general, new acts, new opportunities of building. So I wanted to update the Ice Strike Monk, seeing as so many people are having trouble in the campaign, a lot of people have asked, and I think people are overlooking the melee stuff, which is still very viable and is even very strong, to the point where every boss fight is going to be very easy. The CC is so reliable, freezing is great, damage is great, you have so many more ways of debuffing enemies now, and access to crit is still very good. So let's dive into it. So starting off, I've made a Maxroll planner that you can follow. I've put as much detail as I can into this. It's not entirely super detailed, but it should be easy to follow. So you have your leveling trees that are set up by points, so you can tell what to follow. I will talk more in depth about this later and going over the choices and go over what I have prioritized at each point, as well as fixing certain issues that the build needs that are fixed via the skill tree. I've also included a version of what my character currently looks like at level 70 something in early maps, but again, keep in mind this might not be super optimized. Still trying lots of things out. The tree is new, we have new defenses, we have new attacks, so we gotta figure this out. This might not be super optimized, so bear with me here. Same for the skills. I've got two leveling setups that you're gonna use in Act 1 until you get Ice Strike, and then what you get after level 14, which is when you get Ice Strike. Now these skills are set up in order from what's most important, but there's also some options here that I will talk more about in depth later. Speaking of skills, let's jump right into it. Start of the game, when you first get into town and you get your first skill gem, we're gonna pick Glacial Cascade. It is less damage than auto-attacking, but that's fairly normal in this game at very early on. However, this gives you safety from afar, the damage is good, it starts building a freeze already, and most importantly, it combos very, very easily with Frozen Locust. As you can see in the background footage, Frozen Locust combines really well with Glacial Cascade, giving you very, very early game explosions to kill small packs of monsters and keep them frozen, and still giving you decent range and keeping yourself away from trouble by just using Glacial Cascade from range. Frost Bomb, really important pickup because this will debuff bosses and tanky rares to just make it easier to kill. Freezing Mark facilitates freezing rares and bosses just even easier. Tempest Spell, I think its usage is fairly optional. The option I mean here is that Tempest Spell doesn't really work with Glacial Cascade because you cannot build combo with Glacial Cascade since it's not a melee quarterstaff skill. It's not a strike skill, so it doesn't build combo, so you can't put your bell down, and it also doesn't really interact with it. So what I did sometimes, but I don't think it's worth it, is I would swap my gems from Glacial Cascade to quarterstaff strike, then just use the bell. It resulted in higher damage than Glacial Cascade, but it really kind of put you in danger. It's fine if you want to play it like that. I find it fun, but it's probably easier to just stay at range and just spam Glacial Cascade and use Frost Bomb off cooldown to shave those resistances off. You're very good like that. But then at level 14 is when the build really comes online, because that's when you get Ice Strike. So now your functionality with Tempest Bell is fully online, you deal a lot of damage, you freeze things very easily. Frozen Locust is still good for pack killing here, because sometimes Frozen Locust will just kill packs of monsters by itself, because it just deals high damage since the monsters can also attack the Locust, not just you. Because the way it works is you put a little ice crystal down. If you or monsters hit it and it dies, it will explode and deal a bajillion damage. It's very, very good. It combos very well with Herald of Ice, which we also get at level 12 from the Freythorn area, which is a side area, so make sure you do that. It gives you first 30 spirit and gives you Herald of Ice, which is by far the best choice here, because it helps you clear and it's just good overall. Another thing worth mentioning is that the moment you get access to Hand of Chayula, this is the only palm skill that I really used. I didn't even use Shattering Palm this time around, because Hand of Chayula can be used to cast a mark and a curse at once. So one single attack that's very fast, procs a curse and a mark, so shaves off resistances, makes it easier to freeze with Freezing Mark. It's perfect. It's very, very good, happens very fast, and it's great mobility for bosses. Complete no-brainer. Charge Staff is a really important part of this build because it gives us a lot of damage. However, it introduces a problem. Now we need power charges. The way we fix power charges is we need an aura, Combat Frenzy. I don't think Charge Staff is worth using at all until we get access to the second aura in Act 3 by killing the Bog Witch in the Bog of Azak or whatever it's called. And the reason Combat Frenzy gives us power charges, even though it's been nerfed continuously since 0.1, it's still good enough. You pick up Resonance. This is a keystone that makes you gain power charges instead of frenzy charges. So that fixes our generation of power charges very easily, even on bosses. Because we're applying ailments and freezing the bell, this will give us power charges during boss fights, making it reliable. Let's go over support gems for at least just the main skills. The main important thing that we want for Ice Strike right away is to make it reliable and smooth to use, so we want lots of attack speed, which is why we pick up rapid attacks, followed by elemental armament, which just makes it do more damage. Close combat is also an option here instead of this. Crescendo 2 is a good option now, but it also is motivated by mana problems, which I will cover later. And then Ice Bite. And then you might be thinking, well, Ice Bite doesn't actually give me any more damage. My tooltip isn't going up. My number here isn't going up. That's because it only gives you damage when you freeze an enemy, which is immediately. Even in bosses, you're going to be freezing enemies because you're freezing the bell. So this is just active all the time. Don't worry about it. It's just 25% more damage without any mana cost multiplier, which I'll cover later. So enough about the boring details of the skills. How do you actually play this build? So we always open up with charging to a pack with Hand of Chayula. And then we're just using our Ice Strike to clear around. If you're in trouble, you can just use Chayula to another enemy to get right back into the fray. Once you have enough power charges, you can use your charge staff. Really big boost to your damage. Once you come across a tanky target, just plop your bell down, smash it a few times, you should die. If you need even more damage per single target, go ahead and use your Frost Bomb, keep up it even further, plop your bell down, and you should die. When we find a boss, there's an actual kind of specific rotation here to maximize your damage, so bear with me as I explain. We're gonna open the fight, again always, by using Hand of Chayula to apply the curse and the mark. We're going to hit the target a few times to build our combo, and we Frost Bomb, put the Tempest Bell down, hit it a few times. That should give us power charges to get Charge Staff. I know it's a lot, but it'll make sense, it'll be very fast. Once we have Charge Staff, we can then plop our second bell down, press Unbound Avatar, and just go to town. Just hold your left click, and you should deal a lot of damage, and you should be freezing, and you should be shocking, and it's going to be good. I'll show it in action just now. You can see, double bell, a lot of damage, boss goes down. As for the order of the skill tree, the start is a no-brainer. You just path through Flow State, grab this skill speed here, go into Conservative Casting because we kind of just need mana right away, grab Tenfold Attacks for more attack speed, come down here, grab Essence of the Mountain, and these attack speed nodes feel good, they're just good, so grab them. Later I would also path here to the mana, because these give attack speed, so they feel good. Damage taken from mana before life isn't a big deal. Never saw an issue with that, so that was fine to take. At which point, I would then go from Agile Succession here to grab Harness the Elements, path over here to Storm Swell. You later remove this because this node is actually not that great. Damage penetration, I don't think it's too worth investing into. I could be wrong here, but we have so many other ways of debuffing the enemies, like Frost Bomb, applying exposure, and reducing resistances with elemental weakness. I don't think this is great. Don't really see a point in investing into that yet, but either way, we then make our way up to starting to grab Whirling Assault. It's a good node, grab that, and then after grabbing Whirling Assault, I would come down and grab Coming Calamity, just a bunch of damage. 40% damage is great, and these nodes are very efficient too, because we're always affected by Heralds, so that's good. At this point is when I would consider going crit, so you know, you grab Struck Through, you grab Martial Artistry as well as one with the Storm, and then you fill out these diamonds over here to grab even more crit. And then we can start doing the changes for late maps, or sorry, for early maps. This node's really good because you just get a pure Energy Shield Helmet, which gives you a shitload of evasion. I think this node is just a must take. And then you fix your pathing to go around Mindful Awareness and grab Step Like Mist because movement speed feels good, and also has mana regen, so that's good. Grab Crashing Wave here. This node here is very, very good. So again, just max CS based on evasion rating of armor, so we probably want a full evasion rating armor. Grab Overflowing Charges to make charge stuff a little bit better. And then this node's crazy, take it. And then start thinking about going Deflection. Deflection just busted, probably want to take it. So that's it for his passive skill tree. Have fun. One last thing about this build that might be confusing is knowing when to go crit. So I think for me, when I went crit was around mid Act 4. It was after I had picked up these nodes over here, which already dip you into going crit. So I grabbed this Whirling Assault, which is a good node overall. And then by this time, you're already nearby Struck Through, which gives +1 base crit. So at this point, I think it's already enough to go crit. So you fill out these nodes over here, one with the Storm, and you fill out Struck Through. And at the same time, you have access to these nodes here, True Strike, Deadly Force for the Jugular. And you round out your crit that way. I'm sitting at around 36% crit unbuffed. In a map, this will be like 45% and stuff after charge regulation kicks in. It's around 45% crit and it feels great. So I think that's around when I would go crit, around middle to late Act 4. So, mana issues. Yeah, this build can have mana issues even during the campaign. Let's talk about how to fix them. So the first steps that we take to fix mana on this build is by looking at our support gems and using as few support gems that have mana cost multiplier as much as possible. As you can see here, Crescendo has 120% cost multiplier, and then all of the other support gems that I currently have socketed, they do not. This is by design because we don't want to up the mana cost even more. Since we are attacking very, very fast and the mana cost is flat, it just means that we're linearly increasing our cost and it starts getting to a point where it's really bad. So let's talk more about that in the passive tree. We picked this up very early, which gives us mana cost efficiency. These nodes are just here on the way anyway. They're very good. Pathing up early game, you also pick up these mana regen nodes over here, as well as Chakra of Thought. I was a bit scared picking up this node in the campaign because of the damage taken being from mana and before life. I thought I was going to run out of mana and bosses and when surrounded and it was going to be a big problem. It never really was, but I had ways of mitigating this. Having any kind of damage leached as mana on gear solved this, which was either by a mind rune on the weapon, which does lower your damage a little bit since you're not using iron runes, but it was really worth it to just get my mana fixed, as well as a new keystone that was really, really helpful. This one right here, Walker of the Wilds, which means that we can now leech from elemental damage instead of physical damage, which is good because vast majority of our damage is elemental. So this just helps. If you feel like you don't need it, you can just tick it off and try it, and if it feels good, then don't use it, but I'm using it, feels fine. You can also optionally pick up Mental Toughness right here for some more mana regen, and that should really cover your mana. For boss fights and single target situations, we're attacking so fast you still might have mana issues. You just need more mana leech, and you probably just still need to use a flask to keep it going. It sounds annoying, but we deal so much damage that it probably won't be a problem anyway, but keep your mana flasks, and for that matter, your life flasks up to date with your level, and you should be fine. Didn't really have that mana issues. If you really need even more, there's Siphon right here. For increased mana leech amount, should work. As for the Ascendancy, sadly you don't really have much of a choice. Invoker is kind of boring at the start because you really only just have to pick I Am the Blizzard for extra cold damage, followed by Unbound Avatar, which is just great. It's a button that's fun to press. You press this button, you deal a bunch more damage, you freeze more easily. Press the button, you go Super Saiyan and you kill shit. Feels good. I like it a lot. My second pick. As for the third pick, I went Meditate because it's just a little bit more defensive. It gives me a little bit more ES. When I use it, I'm gonna be at almost 1300 ES with, fairly bad gear because I kind of just started mapping. I'm level 72. Feels okay. Might reiterate on it later. Sadly, I don't have many other options. Lead Me Through Grace is not very helpful for me right now because I don't really need more spirit. I'm already capped on support gems, so I can't fit any more auras anyway. I already have 4. So I'm not sure how that makes any sense. I feel like we're so limited by skill gem slots. That feels weird. Don't really need Sunder My Enemies. This is a big change that we don't really need this anymore. So you're stuck between Faith is a Choice and I Am the Thunder. This is a good node, honestly. It's a good node. Protect Me from Harm, I think is really bad. It was already kind of not great in 0.1 when I last played. But now with a 50% less evasion rating, on top of evasion just being worse this patch in general, and you needing more evasion rating to cap deflection, I think this node is just terrible. Don't ever click it. This is debatable. I think this is fine because it saves you some affixes on your gear, because I have Spirit on my chest. If I had this node, I probably wouldn't need Spirit on my chest anymore, which would allow me to get a better chest. Maybe I'll pick it up later depending on my gear. Maybe I'll replace it for Meditate or vice versa, and it'll be fine. Needs to be seen. Haven't played enough. Do not worry about deflection in the campaign. I'm not even going to talk about it. Don't worry about deflection. Don't worry too much about evasion in general. Just cap your resistances in the campaign, and that's all you need. We only care about two things in the campaign when it comes to gear. We care about having a good weapon, which means just having high physical DPS, and we care about having resistances in our gear. That's it. That's the two main things that you need in the campaign. Don't worry about evasion rating numbers. Don't worry about armor. The only other thing you have to worry about is movement speed on your boots, and maybe sockets for more resistance. That's it. Other important things for the campaign, but this goes for every single build in the game, is you want to have a freeze removal charm. Getting frozen means death. The game is unplayable without a thawing charm. Just have one. Stun removal charm is also good, and also debatable here, but an amethyst charm to get chaos res, also good. How to get your weapon. The weapon is the most centric piece of gear for this build. It's the thing that will give you the most damage. I'll talk about how to get them and the stats that you want on it, so bear with me here. The things you want most out of your staff are just raw physical DPS. You just want high physical DPS because that's the main... You just want high physical DPS because that's the base damage that your skill takes when dealing damage before conversion and all that. Another really good stat is elemental damage with attacks. It's just a really nice increased damage. It's good even if you're crit. You want base crit if possible. You want high attack speed in general. Level of melee skills during the campaign I wouldn't recommend because it ups the mana costs a lot, but if you feel like that's not a problem, level of melee skills is good too. It's just a lot of damage. Also during the campaign, having some elemental damage like cold or lightning mainly on your staff is also good. To recap, PDPS, LE damage with weapons, skill levels, crit, optional. Now, as how to get weapons. This might seem like a weird thing to say, but I don't think that actually trying to get weapons yourself is a good idea. I did that through the campaign because I was playing very early and there was no availability. But I think you're better off just taking your currency and just buying them on trade. Because nowadays, you can just press dash on your keyboard and you go to here and you get a quarterstaff. I'll show you how to do it. You get a quarterstaff. Let's say that you're only level 35, so you get to requirements, max level 35. And then let's say, I don't know, you want a 150 PDPS staff. Let's see, how much does exist? There you go. For one alchemy, you have a 150 PDPS staff with almost 1.6 attacks per second. Feels good. If you don't want to see uniques, just do any non-unique. And let's bump this up to 200, because why not? There you go. For still one alchemy, you can get a 200 PDPS staff, usable at level 33. Even has +4 the melee of all skills. That maybe not great. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's just a much better use of your time and your currency to just buy them off trade, play around with the physical DPS here, play around with the attacks per second here. And let's see, 1.6, and you don't mind going down to like 160. Boom, there you go. This staff is very good. I would probably buy this staff. It has a free prefix, so you could just desecrate it and hope to get the flat type of damage here. The staff, honestly, the staff is a fucking steal. So if you're playing and you're still leveling, go get the stuff. I think this is better than just trying to make one yourself. It's more reliable, doesn't take as much time. It feels bad to use your currency, not get anything, even when you're gambling with the gold NPC, so there you go. In general, I had a super good time playing this build. It's fast, it clears consistently, it clears well, it has satisfying combos. Tempest Bell is still the most fun button in the game to me. Didn't have any problem with any boss. In fact, the only two problems I ran into was dealing too much damage, which would stack mechanics on top of each other that aren't meant to be stacked, and got me in trouble a couple times. Good problem to have, I don't mind that. I'll be showing you some footage in the background of just boss kills during the campaign. Now the final two things to address. One, why not Acolyte of Chayula? Honestly, it was just a big unknown at the start. I wasn't really sure how things worked, and I knew that Invoker worked, and I could just click on it and go ham. And I would worry about that later, which is exactly what I did, so I just clicked Invoker and I went. Acolyte of Chayula seems alright. I will have to look into it later, but Invoker just works and I know it works, so that's what I did. If you prefer trying Acolyte of Chayula and seeing the new stuff with volatility and maybe the flames that they work differently now, go ahead. I think it's alright. Your mileage may vary. Now the final thing is, the reason that I play the Monk this league is because I wanted to try Holopalm technique. However, right from when it was first announced, I just thought this was something that you need really good gear for, because you're essentially stat stacking now again, because you get attack speed from your evasion rating and you get crit from energy shield. So this is just really gear reliant from the get-go for you to get your crit up, for you to get your attack speed, and then if you have too much evasion rating, you have too much attack speed, your mana problems are huge. So I just didn't want to put that stress on the build, but it's right here if you need to grab it. In a universe where you're struggling to get a very good weapon, I think this is fine to get, because this means you can invest your resources to just get better armor and get stats that way instead of investing in weapons, you know, buying and stuff. But didn't seem worth it to me. I haven't tried it yet. I will try it later when I have better skill, and I also want to try physical skills later. They didn't seem to change that much yet, so we'll see. I hope this video helps any people that want to play a melee skill but don't want to deal with warriors nonsense, or you just want to still be fast and you don't want to be a Deadeye like everyone else. This is fun, and I think this cheeses bosses really easily, freezes them almost permanently, damages high, feels great. I'll leave the links to the planner down below, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time. Try to play Deadeye less than I do. Bye-bye.
And thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching Scry's build. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.